Have you ever wondered why some Airbnb listings stay booked and others don't, even when they look almost the exact same? It's not luck, it's knowing how to use the Airbnb algorithm to your favor. And once you understand how it works, you can turn your place into a booking machine. In this video, I'm going to break down how you can get onto the first page of your Airbnb algorithm and not get buried on page 6 with 3 simple steps. Get eyeballs on your listing, make people click and engage, and then get them to book. Let's dive in. Running short-term rentals is constant work. Guest in, guest out, and you're still expected to be your own bookkeeper? I had multiple listings going and no real way to manage the money that was coming in. Between flipping beds and trying to match receipts from a payment a month ago, I couldn't even know if I was making real money. That's when I found Baselane. It's the official banking platform of BiggerPockets, and it handles all of the tracking and reporting I used to do manually. Now I can see real-time financial reports for each listing and know if there's a problem that's arising. For example, last month I had a 300% spike in my electric at one of my properties, and I realized that I needed to do something. I quickly set up a smart thermostat inside of it, and my electricity bill was cut almost in half. Thanks to things like Baselane, I avoided losing my profits and actually getting them back in my pocket. Start protecting your profits today by signing up at baselane.com/BP, and you'll get your $100 bonus right when you sign up. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bigger Stays. My name is Garrett Brown. I'm a short-term rental investor from Houston, Texas, and the resident BiggerPockets STR expert. Algorithms are one of the biggest mysterious things out there right now. Most people don't really understand how they work, and I'm not even sure if the companies that are making them fully understand how they work, but all of these different algorithm platforms out there come from an interest-based algorithm. This means the more interesting you're listing to people, the higher you're going to get pushed up. So we're about to dive into the 3-step process that I use for my direct bookings and Airbnb bookings to make sure we're covering every aspect we need to get higher in these algorithms. If you appreciate this type of content, please hit the subscribe, like, and comment below so we know that this is what you're looking for when we're making these type of videos, because otherwise we're just going to be running around like a chicken with our head cut off trying to guess what you want to know about as a short-term rental investor. So please take a moment. We really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get it started. So the first step is visibility. You can't win the game if no one sees your listing. Airbnb looks at 2 different traffic sources whenever you have your listing: on-site traffic and off-site traffic. Let's start with the on-platform traffic, when somebody is on Airbnb searching for a listing. When people are searching for a listing, they usually see 5 different things: your first photo, the price, the listing name, your general location, and your review average. Most people that go into Airbnb are typically searching for a location and dates first. Then they'll put in some of their specific filters that they're looking for that they may need for their stay. A lot of people are not going on Airbnb and just scrolling all across the US and finding the coolest place they can stay in. There's a couple, but it's a very small percentage. So with that being said, picking the right market is critical, but we're not even going to talk about markets today because we're talking about the listing you already have, so your market's been picked. So with those 5 things I mentioned earlier that is only shown when somebody displays immediately on Airbnb, that means that you need to optimize these to the next level. Your hero image should be your most scroll-stopping photo. Don't put a photo of your random bathroom or your coffee and tea set that you have. Pick your best photo, the one that when people are scrolling through a flood of listings is going to make them stop. Ideally going to be a twilight photo, a drone photo, or whatever the coolest amenity you have. Next is your listing name. It shouldn't be something cute and whimsical that nobody can understand. It should be clear, value-driven. Don't do something like charming house in XYZ neighborhood. Most of the time, people aren't going to know what that neighborhood actually is. Something better would be modern A-frame with hot tub near the forest or whatever the attraction is in the area you're coming to. Name your amenities that are sellers and name what you're actually near that people are coming to that area for. Next is your review scores. They matter, unfortunately, even though I hate being handcuffed to the Airbnb review system. You may not have a ton of reviews early on, but encourage 5-star reviews. And I even encourage you to go above and beyond when you're first getting your listing rolling with extras for the guest, understanding what exact small details will make them have a better 5-star review. And don't be afraid to back off of your prices a little bit as you're growing your listing. You can always gradually raise your prices over time, especially when you get more traction in the algorithm. The next big step to make sure you're showing up is to enable every filter that you can. My recommendation is you should be pet friendly. Turn that filter on. Everybody is searching for pet friendly places. If you have a hot tub, a pool, any of your amenities that you have, you never know what somebody is randomly searching. And if you can offer it like a pack and play or any of these things out there that maybe a family is looking for, you might get that chance to show up in the listing that others wouldn't. The third step to make sure you're showing up is to watch your minimum stays. I've seen too many people have a 3-night minimum stay on the weekends when most people are searching Friday through Sunday. So you're not even popping up to become an option. I would rather see you raise your prices for the 2 nights to at least pop up, and then you can use something like Price Labs to encourage them to book that 3rd night at a discounted rate, with all software algorithm based, nothing you have to do. But you need to just show up, and if you're 3 or 4 night minimum stay, you're probably not showing up as much as you would like to. The 4th step is to optimize based on the Airbnb insights. You can go into your host settings and go into the insights section to see what your click-through rate is, how many people are seeing your listing. And each month, judge those. If you change one photo as your hero image, do it for a month, and then go back for the next month, change it again, and look at what the comparisons are. It's not always apples to apples because each month is a little different, but you'll start to get a good feel and really get some insight from that knowledge. So that's just some few quick ways to show up more in the Airbnb algorithm, but let's talk about off Airbnb traffic. This is your secret weapon. Airbnb loves when you send traffic from off-site onto their platform. The cool thing about it is when you send somebody from Instagram or your Facebook or email or wherever to Airbnb, your listing, they're not looking at thousands of other listings and scrolling through. They're going straight to your listing, and from that point, it's your listing's job to capture them in and get them to book, but you don't have their eyes wandering around to a whole lot of other listings. The best ways to do this are to post high quality vertical video content on Instagram and TikTok that caters to your area and the guest avatar you're going after. If you're not a social media expert, pay someone to do some amazing drone and vertical video for you. Use something like Fiverr or Upwork or wherever, and get an editor to edit these videos and just consistently post them online. It's not as expensive as you think, and if you have a pretty cool place, you're going to get quite a few bookings and traction from it. If you have a plain Jane place with nothing about it at all, then maybe focus on the area you're in and try to make as much high quality content about why guests should come to that area. If you're near a beach or a mountain or something like that, really emphasize that. You'll still get eyeballs that are looking to come to your market, and you might be the listing they chose because you kind of pushed them in that direction. The next step is you don't need to build a direct booking site if you only want to do Airbnb only. You can just make a landing page, very simple, with your Airbnb link there, and do some organic SEO on it to make sure that people are searching for whatever term or market that you're in, vacation rental near XYZ lake or something like that. You'll pop up more with your landing page, and you can drive traffic to that page, collect emails with a little small email blurb at the bottom, and then just have your Airbnb listing there in a hyperlink. You don't have to have a full direct booking site just to have a landing page to collect the emails and be able to keep continuously marketing to them. The same thing goes for paid ads. You can run Facebook, Google, any of those types of ads sponsored to your landing page, collect the emails, drive the traffic, get, Facebook meta pixels, all these things that we can talk about that will retarget people from landing on your page, and then send them to the Airbnb link. Airbnb is going to see that you're bringing in a bunch of people from off platform, and that algorithm is going to reward you. Then we talked about the 5 things that show up when people are searching on Airbnb for a listing, but once you're ready to do it, and they have clicked through finally, this is when these next steps really come into play. Your first 5 photos matter so much. I've seen too many times where the first 5 photos are all 5 exterior photos, or they all look the same. Your first 5 photos when they pop up on Airbnb are what people will see, and sometimes they won't even see the rest of your photos. Your first 5 photos should have a really cool exterior one, a really cool interior one, the location of the amenities that you offer, and then 2 other just really breathtaking, show-stopping photos that people are going to resonate with. Everything should be bright, clean, staged, and professionally photoed. I don't think I have to say that anymore because I think everybody knows you need professional photos now. But if you're not getting professional photos, I highly recommend that's the next step and the first step you should do. Utilize these different angles and creative methods to make sure you're having that eye-popping photos you need. As they're looking through your photos, one of the biggest things that's going to stop them from booking or actually book it is your pricing strategy. We all want to be priced at the top of the market and always converting, but that's usually one of the biggest restrictions on why people don't book. Use something like Price Labs to get your dynamic pricing in order. Don't rely on the Airbnb pricing system. They want to book your place, so they're going to drop your price way more than you're probably expecting. Use Price Labs, use their software to let them tell you exactly what other places similar to yours are getting in the area, and just rely on it. It's pretty much set it and forget it, even though a lot of people say it's not. There's a lot of really cool things with the algorithm at Price Labs that can pretty much make your life way easier and your bookings way more profitable. Next, we're back to your title again. I would test a few different words and titles within it to make sure people are clicking through, and then when they get to it, it represents exactly what it should with your amenities and the location and the type of structure. These are really important in your title. After that, they're probably looking through your listing description. Make sure it has all of the things that are really cool about your place, the amenities guests want, what you offer, what's inside, what they're going to get, and put it into bullet points instead of some 20-page long paragraph in your description that people have to read through in some long story that they just want to get their information, know what exactly is going to be provided, and get it in a clear-cut method. Your house rules are big as well too. Don't have 50 house rules. Have the ones that you know you need. Make them extremely clear to the guest to understand that these are the things that are not allowed. And that typically will help push guests through to know that you don't have a laundry list of items that they're expected to follow. Just the main ones. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. That's the acronym. I'm not calling you stupid. I think we should change that. Keep it simple, smarty. I don't know. I'm going to workshop that one. And now, one of the last things they're probably going to do, if not the first, is read through your reviews. This is when it's critical to make sure you're responding to all good reviews and responding to bad ones, addressing them if you have some. If it's something that is truly needed to be fixed, mention how you have appreciate the feedback and you have fixed it. The reviews are not for old guests. The reviews are for new guests that are on your page and potentially thinking about booking. They want to make sure that the host cares, and they're going to read into those and see what the common things are. Now that they're almost ready to book and you're finally got the click through that you needed on that second step of the funnel, how do we get them to finally convert, which is going to make Airbnb push you up even higher when they see that your listing went from a search to a click to a booking. That is what Airbnb algorithm wants to see, and you're going to get rewarded the easier and stress-free it is for the guests as they're going through your listing. This is when you need to make sure of a few extra last-minute things. Don't have a company logo as your profile picture. Use your name, a smiling host face picture. People want to see that they're actually staying with someone real. There's a bad rep on companies of, not managing Airbnbs well and things like that. There's going to be a bigger trust if your photo is your profile photo and it's smiling. Smile, get a nice, clear, professional headshot. The next step is also not having excessive issues for them to book. Airbnb has gone all in, taking away fees and including them in the all-in pricing. So the fees aren't as much of a restriction anymore. But just make sure to not have a ton of excessive fees, price your listing right, and make sure you have on Instant Book. I know some people are not a fan of Instant Book, but you can set your Instant Book within your Airbnb profile to not allow guests that have had negative reviews before, and make sure that they have their ID verified and things like that. You can refine the Instant Book process to make it more appropriate, but please have on Instant Book. That way they can just book it and go. You're going to reduce the friction of guests that just kind of bounce off and go somewhere else if they can't instantly get a booking done. Another little trick, even if the bookings aren't fully going all the way through, is to have your friends and family and other people around you to go online and wish list your property. Still don't know how much this pushes up in the algorithm, but I know Airbnb definitely takes account of this and notes which properties are getting the most wish list and still considering them as a good destination for it. If you're more of a higher priced property and you're still getting wish listed a lot and not a ton of conversions on the booking side,
Airbnb will still reward you because they realize you're probably more of a unique stay or a once a year, once in a lifetime kind of stay that they want to push in the algorithm and get more bookings for their platform, because these are the type of stays they actually want. Another big step is to make sure you're actually captioning your photos on the property. That's called alt text, but go in and describe what the photo actually says. Don't leave it blank or whatever the photographer sent you the photo being called. Go in and actually describe what is in that listing photo. Guests are going to read this, but Airbnb's AI is going to also implement this into their algorithm and kind of know which listings have more amenities and just generally, make a better decision as they push things up in their algorithm. And the last one, to just not really overwhelm people while they're booking, is you don't need 80 photos for a 1-bedroom cabin. Give them the nice clean photos, give them exactly what they are looking for. If you have a 4-bedroom house, you're probably in the 25 to 30 or 40 photo range. If you have a 1-bedroom cabin, you might only need 15. Guests are going to be able to see where they're actually staying, but not have an overwhelmingly amount to digest or not be able to see the things that they really need. You don't need 20 photos of your bathroom. They're going to get it after a while, and they may be looking for what the outside looks like. So just be careful with your photos and don't overload them, but also don't underwhelm them and only have a few that don't show all the cool things that you could have. So that was just a quick run through of how the Airbnb algorithm works in 3 steps. Get eyeballs on the listing, convince them to click, and then you convince them to book. All 3 steps are super important. I can do a much bigger deep dive on any of these topics in the funnel. If you're curious, let me know in the comments which one's your biggest struggle. Is it getting eyeballs on your listing? Is it getting them to actually convert when they're booking? Or is it something else that I missed out and I can even help you with on that side? Let me know in the comments, and I appreciate it if you've watched all the way to the end of this video. Please hit subscribe. See y'all in the next episode.